Kia ora koutou, Markie here, sometimes known as the grizzled walrus of retroactive jealousy, and this is a video about retroactive jealousy. And so this is what you might consider if all else fails, if you're still not getting well. Now, I've done a video on this topic, so I guess this is kind of even further down the line. If you've listened to the things I suggested in that video and they haven't worked, then this is something else to consider. But before I say that, first of all, have you really tried everything? Have you watched everything there is to watch? Other videos that you haven't watched, either mine or Zachary Stockhill's or Jeff Billings. Are there e-learning programs that you haven't signed up for? Are there books that you haven't read? If I made book recommendations and you've not read all the books, I think to recover from retroactive jealousy, you really need to leave no stone unturned. And there will be things that, because everybody's different, some things won't. Some things will work for you, and some things will work for others, but they won't work for you. So I think you have to try them all, and you have to give them a damn good shot, really. So have you been to Codependence Anonymous? Have you gone to at least 6 meetings? Have you tried hypnotherapy? Have you considered medication? All these things are stuff that I talk about in other videos. So if you haven't done these things, then let's just revisit the videos and don't watch any further, because this is for the next stage on again, really. And I think we do particularly make sure you watch the video on secondary gains, because sometimes there are unconscious reasons why we want to keep the RJ. Consciously we don't, because it's hell, but unconsciously there are reasons, and it's usually around avoidance of intimacy. But there's videos on that. So if nothing is working, this one is rather drastic, but it can make the difference. Okay, this is to a clean start, a fresh start. Okay, so this is actually to particularly relevant if you're surrounded by triggers. So if you're living in a town where your partner's ex is still around or might be around, or you have a kind of feeling they might be around, or there are places around that you frequent regularly that are trigger places, consider moving to if you use the pun, virgin territory. Somewhere where neither you nor your partner have been before, where everything is kind of fresh. And let go of, sometimes it's important to let go of objects from the past as well. That can be very helpful. Be careful with this, because you have no right to impose this on your partner. This is something that you can only do if your partner is in agreement with. And it's like disposing of stuff. It's like kind of any changes that you feel that your partner should make. Again, you've got no right, really. So if your partner, for example, is in contact with their ex-partners, as long as that's kind of in an appropriate way, why shouldn't they, really? If you want them to change that, you have to kind of ask very nicely and accept that they can say no. And for example, things like photographs, so your partner might have old photograph albums from the days when photographs were flippy floppy things that you put in albums, and you might not like that, but who are you to say get rid of those old photos? That's their life, that's their history. So you have to be very, very careful not to cross over the line into being abusive, controlling. This has to be consensual, but sometimes a complete move away to a completely different area can shift things. It can calm that inflammation, and removal of getting rid of for example, like old furniture that might have associations with for you with the partner's past, but one to be treated with great care, and certainly not something to bully or bulldoze your partner into. So you can get well from retroactive jealousy. Some people struggle more than others, but you really have to be willing to crawl over broken glass and do the things that are uncomfortable sometimes. Follow the solutions and the suggestions that you least like, that you least want to do. That is the way to get well. Getting well is not easy, but it is entirely possible. More and more people are getting well from retroactive jealousy every day. So don't come away from this feeling that it's impossible, because it's not. The only thing to stop you getting well is yourself. And I hope you do get well. Best of luck. Rangimarie.